Hello ladies and gentlemen, Mike here at Game From Scratch, and yesterday Blender 3.3 was just released. Now this is an LTS release or long-term support. This means if you're starting a project now and you want to have stability across the life of that project, this is the version to pick. So we're just going to jump in. I'm going to show you what I think are two of the highlight features of this release, and we'll get into the release notes themselves. So here we are in Blender 3.3, and of course we are going to start things off by sacrificing a default cube. Goodbye cube, and what we're going to do is replace that cube with a sphere because anyways, here we go. The newest feature I'm going to showcase is hair. This is available via, so I have an object selected in the world. That's what the hair is going to conform to. I'm going to go curve, empty hair. And now that you've got hair added to it, you can come here, new mode available, and it is the Sculpt mode. So you got a ton of options up the top here. You got your typical sculpting controls. What you probably want to start with is by adding some hair. You can pick the amount of hair to add at each brush stroke. You can keep it very simple at first. I can show you how to thicken the hair in just a second. Also, if you drop down in here to the curve shape, you can control the overall length of the hair. Also, the other details of the hair itself, the spline curves being created. With this mode selected, now you can basically start painting. And we're going to add hair onto our object like this. And then what we've got, we can also get rid of hair if we wish, and we can change the density. So if we want to increase the amount of hair we've got, we just come in and add some density to it. It's a good idea to probably start with a little bit of hair, make it how you wish, and then thicken it up using the density as well. And then you start using the various different tools for controlling your hair. So for example, here, I come in and I can basically start combing the hair. Now, one thing you're going to notice is the controls probably aren't reacting the way you wish them to. What you probably want to do is switch over here to projected. Also probably want to increase the radius of your tool so that it's got a bit more effect. And there you see the hair is being, is it coiffed? I think that's the word for it. But there we go with some pretty funky hair in our world. By the way, these things are, it can apply a material to it. So for example, if you wish to have blonde hair is very much an option. There we go. So that is the new hair tools. You'll notice also come here in the sculpt tool, in addition to the comb tools and adding and subtracting hair, we've also got the ability to grow and shrink the hair like so. It comes in, it doesn't follow the same details, so you probably want to comb it last. So you're still going to have to comb the hair you added in. We also have some tools here. So we've got grow and shrink, we've got pinch, which to be honest, I don't really directly see what the effect of pinch is. We have puff, which again, I'm not 100% sure what puff does, but I guess it puffs the hair up. You have the ability to smooth the hair out, which again, the effect is pretty mild. And then you got a snake hook tool. I believe that's what, oh no, slide. So this is for actually moving the hair on your base object. So if you want to have a receding hairline, you can do so using the slide tool. I missed the snake hook. There's also a snake hook tool in here as well. Again, you can go between sphere and projected. I tend to find projected is actually probably what you want 9 times out of 10, and all of the brushes work so much better when in projected mode. But for the most part, I think it's going to be add density and combing for the majority of people. And then again, if you want to move it around on your base object, that is where slide comes in. So you can move it around on the object the hair is attached to. So this is going to make hair effects in Blender so much easier to work with. Definitely a nice feature. Another one we have here is, well, this is kind of a compound feature. I'm going to showcase one of the new things. There's this new pathfinding algorithms. You can use this for, say, creating a lightning bolt in your world procedurally. This is all about nodes, nodes, and nodes. There are a ton of new nodes. We're going to see that when we get to the release notes, but as you can see here, this is the geometry node tree controlling this labyrinth solver over here. We can set the solve amount, and you can see how it's pathfinding through the world. Now I can also, again, change the seed here so we get a completely different maze, and we're going to solve it again. So this can be used for creating all kinds of different special effects and so on. On top of that, we've added a number of new nodes to the world. For example, we now have UV nodes, so you can procedurally unpack objects, and you can also create UV islands procedurally. So if you're creating objects and you want to create textures for them, you can have it automatically do the texture wrapping for you in nodes. It's definitely a nice new one. There are a number of other new nodes as well. We're going to see those when we jump into the release notes now. All right, so head on over here. Here are the release notes for this particular release. Again, hair was newly added, the new grooming system, all via paint. We looked at all that in action, so I'm not going to show it in much more detail. We do have that procedural unmapping. Those UV, unwrap, and pack UV island nodes I just showed you in geometry nodes are available now. We do have the new pathfinding nodes. We also saw those in action as well. So this is going to give you the ability to create mazes, lightning, growing vegetation, and so much more. And then we've got other new nodes added, such as shortest edge path to curve, edge path to selection, volume cube primitive, points primitive, mesh to volume, instance scale, interpolate domain, intersecting edges, and more. So there is a ton of updates in the geometry node section. That part of Blender just continues to keep getting better and better. In the world of line art, you can now have accurate shadows and light shadow separation. We also have some other controls over how line art is now used. On the topic of Grease Pencil now shows up in both the Dope Sheet and Timeline editor, so people doing 2D animations using Grease Pencil are going to find the experience much nicer. They're also, we've got some performance improvements when it comes to object loading, so line art objects greatly reduced in speed, multi-threaded to much improved performance. So if you're working with line art work, you're going to find it just performs better in general, and then a number of other smaller improvements there as well. If you are one of the 6 people alive that has an Intel Arc GPU, well, first off, I feel sorry for you, but second off, some good news, it is now supported in Blender. We also have AMD Vega GPU rendering. This lagged for a while, so it's nice to see it's available for both Windows and Linux. So both discrete GPUs and APUs are supported. So if you wanted rendering on AMD, it is now here. We also have improvements to library overrides. This was a new feature as of 3.1, I think library overrides were added in. It's kind of a way of storing all of your information in one place. So now the outliner library override mode now displays all overridden properties in the hierarchy using their labels and icons where applicable. So you can see the edits that you have made at a glance, and then other improvements as well. Image plane marker, so create or update an image from the pixels behind the plane marker allows you to create unwarped textures from a billboard from footage to allow external editing and reprojecting it back to the footage. And then we got lots of other features here as well. In the modeling category, new shade auto smooth operator, nearest face snap mode. That one is really nice, actually. Improvements to surface to form. I always modeling is my thing, so that's the area I focus on the most. And we got improvements to the UI, to UV tools, to sculpting and painting, user interface, input, output, and so on. So definitely a number of nice changes here as well. So if you're interested, the full release notes are available here. I will have both links in the link document down below. Of course, if you are interested in grabbing these things in general, everything is available at blender.org. Go here, go to downloads, and it is now available as 3.3. As I mentioned earlier on, this is an LTS version. I do believe that's 2 years of support. But anyways, this is going to be a long supported version, whereas 3.4 and 3.5 will not be. So if you're looking for the ultimate stability in your project, you're going to want to go with an LTS release. So that is Blender 3.3. The stars of the show, in my opinion, are definitely the new hair system and the rapidly improving geometry nodes. But let me know what you think. Comments down below. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.